I realized coming from that space that my thought really tricked me into thinking that if I am going to change as a person, people won't like me. And not having friends, not having people around me scared me. I didn't never wanted to be alone. And that feeling of not wanting to be alone was something so hard to sit with. And I took a lot of time making my peace with that feeling. So being alone and being lonely is very different. Being alone and being happy is one way of seeing things. You can be alone but feeling like, oh wow, this space is really nice. I really like it. But being lonely would be like, oh, nobody loves me. Hmm. What am I going to do? I have so much time, I have so much energy, but I want to spend it with someone else. And loneliness can look different to different people. So that was my kind of loneliness. I always wanted to surround myself with people, and then um, this made me want to have more friends, have a big circle of friends. And when I sit and analyze my thought process, I realize that I have been conditioned to think this way for a bit of time, for a long time. Not for a bit of time, for a long time. I've been conditioned to think that I'm always going to be this lonely person. I'm going to be so unhappy. And then I was like, dude, I'm chill. I'm really okay with my space. It makes me it makes me happier to be in this space, to be able to own my space, to be able to say that, oh wow, all right, this feels good. And whenever people come in my life, friends, lovers, partners, whoever, I'm like, I'm really going to enjoy your presence in my life because I really enjoy this space here. So whatever we put out to the universe, love, happy emotion, gratitude, come back to us. And we don't realize that putting out fear in the world make makes make more fear come back to us. Where it's been a lot of reflection around fear and love, and the space we own as human being. And then I've sat with my emotion to be able to make sense of them. And then I started penning it down. So I've launched social media thing on my Instagram called Pen It Down, with the theme of feeling. And then I like to really do a postmortem of my feeling, to really assess what does that feeling mean to me, how do I resonate with that feeling. And recently I've stumbled upon a reading thanks to a really good friend of mine. I've stumbled upon a reading called Power versus Force. And we realize that every time we resonate at certain type of frequency, we do feel it in our body. And then I know one thing for sure, that stress is stuck in my shoulder. So whenever I have stiff neck, I know that something is stressing me. It might not be visible on the external side, but for sure something in there is really bothering me. What it is, why is it bothering me? Why is it so important that it have to um, become a physical symptom? So while sitting with my emotion, one thing I realized is that we spend a lot of time running away from our emotion. We spend a lot of time shying away from owning our emotion. So whether it is fear, love, pride, sadness, hatred, all those emotions are very valid emotion. And whenever we run away from it, it comes back a lot stronger. So for me, I have this notion of whenever I do not acknowledge the feeling, the strong sentiment that I have in my body, or wherever it is, um, whether it's a head space or heart space or soul space, I would, whenever I run away from it, whenever it comes back, it hurts so much that now I do myself that favor. I actually sit with emotion. It's not about sitting a whole day with the emotion, but whenever I can, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, or for 1 hour, 1 hour, I would just sit with the emotion. What is it? What is it? Why is it making me feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And when we got the news of that the whole country is going into lockdown, I wasn't even home. So for me, that created a sort of stress in my body. And then I couldn't make sense of it immediately. My gut was aching. I was really like in a bad place. I was like, oh my god, it's like not going to be a good day. And then at some point I was like, wow, this is like a stress in my body. Why am I having a stress? Why am I experiencing this emotion? And while trying to go back to the moment I had the stress, the moment I realized what it was, the moment I'm trying to make sense of it, what happened in between. And then I realized that I was stressed because I was in lockdown. I would be confined for 14 days at my cousin's place, and then not being able to come home would mean that my parents would be alone. How do I feel about this situation? And because my dad is bedridden and my mom is old as well, how would they take care of one another? So all those were very unconscious stress. I didn't realize I was thinking that way. I didn't realize I was feeling that way. It was just my body giving me a certain indication that something is off, something is not right. And trying to make sense of that took me a few practices. So I really sit into meditation sometime, despite I don't really can differentiate. I can't really differentiate between inner screaming and meditation at times. Still, I like the fact that I can allow myself at least 5 minutes per day to sit in silence and then be an observer to my thought, be an observer to how I am feeling today. I usually do it in the morning because it really helps me to have sort of set the tone for the day. It's not something I do on a regular basis though. So whenever I wake up, I would just think of how do I want to feel today. Is there anything I want to experience more than other? And someday I selfishly self-sabotage and I really want to someday I wake up and I really want to feel I want to feel nostalgic today. I really want to be sad today. I really want to like self-loathe and have a pity party today. And then I allow myself that kind of day. I won't complain to other people about it because that would not be fair. If I decided I want to have a pity party, it's my party. I won't invite people to my party unless you're really keen to come. But that space that I give myself in terms of feeling my emotion, of really, really sitting with myself, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to have pity for your own self today. But once you're done being in that self-pity party, once you're done with that, you're going to flush it all out, to return back to a state where you're neutral, and from there we'll decide what next we'll do. So doing that on a daily basis really make me experience a lot of emotion. I really enjoy it. So one day I was having a conversation with my mother, and I was explaining to her the whole project of Pen It Down, and she was like, you can't talk about one emotion per day because we're all human. From the moment you wake up to the moment we are here, you experience a lot of emotion. And then Mega as well talk about it in one of her videos. And while having a conversation with Mega, I did realize something, that we don't allow ourselves a lot of emotion which makes us feel bad about ourselves. We tend to want to go towards things that be positive, be happy always, be courageous, be resilient. Yes, be that for sure. But at the same time, if you don't allow yourself the space to have a little bit of fear, have a little bit of worry, have a little bit of overthinkingness, how are we going to prompt ourselves forward? How are we going to make sense of that? So there's a lot of things that you can do to self-motivate yourself, to get yourself started, pep talk being one of them, dancing, music, whatever it is. But at the same time, I've tried and tested those things, and for me it did not make any sense. I really wanted to go through my emotion to be able to come back to that neutral point, come back to that point where I can say that, oh, okay, now I feel nothing, but at the same time I feel everything. So that neutral space, I like it, but let me decide what kind of day I want to have. So depending on what kind of day I feel like I want to have, I'll have just that kind of day. For sure there would be other external factors that would come in and then make me feel frustrated, make me feel unhappy, make me feel all kind of emotion. But at the same time I feel like it's okay, it's okay, I'll accept it as it is, as long as I am enjoying the emotion. Bonne meilleure conversation passée à Check-in Café Bistro.